Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June. We got a special birthday edition today.
Yeah.
9/11. It's B. Foster birthday. The stars are aligning. The Lions are 1-0.
Yeah.
I'm still hyped up from Thursday. So
Yeah.
first off, happy birthday, Foss.
Appreciate it, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I already know, man. I'm glad we having this show at 7 because I know we couldn't have this show at 9 or 10 tonight because it's your birthday, and I already know it's some festivities going on your way. I already know, man. Happy birthday to you. It is 9/11. Shouts out to the victims and the families of that tragedy in 9/11 21 years ago. Uh, I still remember exactly what I was doing when it happened. That's how impactful it was. Uh, it's only fitting that Monday Night Football is the Bills versus the Jets on the East Coast. I'm not sure if it's in the Meadowlands or not,
Either way, it's in New York
but
or
either
close to
way,
New York. Yeah.
that's good marketing. I tell you, there's nothing better than a game like that for the New York crowd to try to because it was a dreadful day. Uh, but we're not gonna get off into that. It's B. Foster birthday. The Lions are 1-0. And we're gonna talk about the game today. We're gonna
Oh
talk
yeah.
about Thursday's game, and we're gonna preview the upcoming game versus Seattle. So, boss, we talked a little bit about it on Monday.
Of course.
I mean, on Thursday night, right after
Thursday,
the game.
Thursday. Yeah.
Like, and I think I want to try to get a quick recap after every game. If we're both free,
Right.
I know how that can go, but especially off a off a big win like that in Kansas City. Uh, we plan to be on here win or lose Thursday night, but did you imagine feeling the way you felt after that game, Boss?
I mean, going into the game, just I was like, I felt like it couldn't have been a worse hand dealt for us to have to face the former Super Bowl winning team at home on the whole ring, the ring revealing night. And I felt like that was like they really tried to set us up for failure, being that, we're a team that was on the rise and it ended on such a high note ish. Obviously, we didn't make the playoffs, but momentum was in the right direction. But when it's all said and done, now that the game is over with, this could not have been a better way to start the year, to set up to continue the momentum to where we're ultimately trying to head in the future this year. So it worked out. It worked out great in the end, but going into it, it's like, oh yeah, y'all really wanted to take some win from ourselves early on.
Well, speaking of win from the sales, now
Mm-hmm.
does the win have an asterisk by it? And
I don't.
I want before you answer that, I want you to think Mike Tirico. Okay, this is where I got it from. So, does the win have? Do we diminish this win because of the
If the
circumstances?
Chiefs
Or
had won, they would have played it like that's what they were supposed to do. They were the favorite team with or without Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. So I feel like, no pun intended, they're moving the goalpost now and trying to take the win. The win is a one. We're 1-0 regardless. We're not going to see the Chiefs again unless we make it to the playoffs. I mean, make it to the Super Bowl. So that wins out the way regardless. We didn't have uh Emmanuel Mosley, and we didn't have Jameson Williams. Would that have been taken into consideration if the Chiefs had won? No, because they were supposed to beat us anyway. So it can't be both when it's all said and done.
well, the way I look at it, right, is you saw the pregame. You had people up there picking the Chiefs to win.
Mm-hmm.
You had several people on that panel. I think it was out of 5, 3 of them picked Kansas City. And all of those facts that Mike Tirico was pointing out, they knew that picking Kansas City. So you can't diminish the win in any kind of way because like you said, if the Lions lose that game, it they don't look at it as, and you didn't have all your people, this, that, and other. You're playing in Kansas City the first game.
Yeah, it was in Kansas City. That the game didn't move to Ford Field. It stayed in Arrowhead with all the energy and excitement and the MVP of the Super Bowl, the best
Mhm.
quarterback in the hey, they if the Kansas City would have beat us by 2 touchdowns, nobody would have been surprised, Kelsey or not.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's just like them saying someone said, put an asterisk by the win because, the wide receiver 19 dropped 2, 3 passes. That's a part of the game. You still have to play regardless of the circumstances. I mean, drop passes happen in a game. So
It happens on our side. We
so
fumbled. Yeah.
it's just you can't diminish this win. You can't diminish this win for the fans, for the city. Um, we did not win the Super Bowl, and we are not looking at it in that route. But however, there's nothing better to start the season one and on primetime TV against a formidable opponent. So
The most.
regardless, it's a win without an asterisk. It's a good win, and I'll take it every time. If you could if we can win 16, 17 games and put an
Put an asterisk
asterisk
by
by it,
all of
I'll
them, right?
take it. I will take it. Give
Yeah.
me the asterisk.
Yep.
But it doesn't show that in the standings.
Standings.
There's no asterisk by it as last I checked. Uh and yeah, I mean, we can look at the game overall. And what I want to do right off the bat, I want to start off talking about grades because I have in my mind a grade for I don't want to get into specifics. Uh I don't want to go O line. I don't want to go unless you want to, Foss, but I just want to look at defense, offense, special teams, and give them a grade, quick grade, real fast. And we'll talk about our MVPs of the game because I want to do offensive and defensive MVPs. You cool with that, Foss? Or
Yeah, let's get it.
okay? I want to grade the offense, right? I want to talk about overall and Foster. This is me to you. I'll let you go first.
Okay.
And what grade from A to F would you grade the offense on Thursday night versus the Chiefs?
Hmm. Now, we talked about both. So I originally had offense, and then I did break it down by positions.
You can
But
break it down if you
but
want.
but to be honest, everything kind of was in the same area, honestly. I want to say, well, first of all, this wasn't a flawless, perfect performance on either side of the ball.
No.
I think that Goff was a little rusty because he didn't play at all during the preseason, and I think that did show a little bit. But handled business, made the plays necessary to win the game. Overall, for the offense, I will give it a. I give it a B. I feel like
Okay.
B minus is too low, but we didn't turn the ball up. I think we did lose one fumble. Oh, we did. We lost the Marvin Jones fumble. So that part you can kind of knock down a little bit, but overall, Montgomery got a touchdown. Uh, St. Brown got a touchdown, and Goff didn't throw any interceptions. So overall, he did what he was supposed. He did what he was supposed to do. He didn't give the ball away. He got the ball in the end zone a few times, one via run and one on a pass. But overall, solid. But I feel like we will have better days. Just wait till we get into Ford Field. JMO comes back. Gibbs fully gets involved in the offense because I really feel like we left we left a little on the table for Gibbs on purpose. We didn't unleash him fully. And I feel like a lot of people were like, why didn't Gibbs get more touches? Because Gibbs looks dangerous. And I don't want to take too much of your steam, but Gibbs looks dangerous already. And this is his first regular season game in enemy territory. But overall, I'll take a solid B. Solid B.
Well, I have my reservations, Foster, and I didn't grade as graciously as you did.
Okay.
Um, I gave them a C plus,
C plus. Okay. Okay.
and the reason being is, for one, I think there was three good drives,
Yeah.
offensive drives. One of them which we fumbled in the red zone,
Okay, that's fair.
and I think the very first offensive play of the game um, was a run for about 7 or 8 yards with Montgomery up the middle, and I'm thinking, okay,
We about to.
that defensive line that we talked about was a weakness without Chris Jones. Oh, we got this.
Right. Right. Right.
The next two plays,
Okay.
one Carliftis, I don't know if that was by design, but you don't let anybody like him in on in on a rush. I mean, unless you have a very athletic quarterback that can get around him.
Yeah.
Golf's not it. So you don't let him rush in. I don't care what kind of screenplay you have or short pass. No, you don't do that. And then they had a bad pass on third down that first drive. So, and I think you got to set the tone with the first drive. I mean, it was that along with I don't think Gibbs got enough touches, but do you take away from Montgomery because he was running pretty good in between the tackles?
Yes.
So, um, I just don't think you can put have 3 drives throughout the game versus a team like Kansas City and get a good grade.
C
They
plus.
they only turned the ball over once, and that was the turnover in the red zone, which I felt was detrimental because I think that's at least 3 points. That's
At
at least
least.
3.
At least.
So, um, there was also a very, very gutsy punt
Ooh.
punt fake at that end that you needed to do because your offense wasn't moving the ball. Even though that was a very gutsy play, I wouldn't have called it, but it worked, and you drove down the rest of the field, uh, which was a great drive. So I think overall C plus with a lot of things left on the table, a lot of things that can be corrected, and the offense can be better.
Right. So, okay, and the one thing that I didn't get a chance to talk about was the offensive line. The offensive line, before the game, we talked about them establishing the line of scrimmage and controlling the time of possession. I looked overall, we held on to the ball 5 minutes longer than the Chiefs did, and that's one of the things we talked about: keeping
Mhm.
Mahomes off the field, controlling the ball, and using the running game to to hold to control the game. And I feel like the offensive line definitely won won the line of scrimmage overall. On both, I think the offensive line did what they were supposed to do when it's all said and done. They gave up 1 sack, which might have been I don't know if that was the play that you were referring to, but yeah, we only gave up 1 sack in the entire game. But other than that, we outrushed the Chiefs, and we held on to the ball longer. So if that went exactly the way I would have wanted it to, given the keys to winning the game.
Also, the last drive where we needed to run the clock out, got the first down and was able to kneel. So, yeah, that possession was key as far as the offensive line and keeping Mahomes off the field. So, yes, very key. Let's switch to defense. Now, how would you grade the defense, Foss?
The defense. So overall, like I said, we held the Chiefs to under 100 yards rushing.
That wasn't
We
the only holding going on.
Man, we got to get to that too. Do your homework on false start, because they didn't re-change the game on that one.
Whoa.
But yeah, overall we held the Chiefs to 20 points. Like, that's That's huge. This was the number one passing offense in the whole league. Granted, they didn't have Kelsey, and they had some mishaps at receiver, which we kind of talked about. Some
Mhm.
unproven guys. Sky Moore from Western Michigan had 0 catches and 0 yards. Like that
Yeah.
secondary handled business. Um, without Emmanuel Mosley, Gardner Johnson was all over the place, and of course, we cannot not talk about the fact that Brian Branch made that play. That pick six totally changed the momentum of the game.
Yes.
It was on a ball that, yes, Torrey did drop, but it ended up being behind Branch. Branch still
He
had to
made
make
the
that
play.
play. He could have
He made the
easily
play.
dropped that ball just
Yeah.
because it wasn't right at him. So yeah, the pick six was huge. But yeah, it was the whole defensive line situation was very interesting.
Mhm.
Hutchinson was getting held. We saw McNeil get held on one play. They were given that right tackle, I believe, one of the tackles. They were allowing him to take a couple yards back to get a good whatever, however you want to describe it, but it definitely assisted him on Aiden Hutchinson's bull rush. But even then, we made an adjustment. We moved Hutch inside, put him
Yes.
on a different guy, and that made a difference. Overall, the pass rush, I felt like the pass rush wasn't great though. It I feel like there were some plays where Mahomes had some time. Mahomes was able to get loose and uh and get into our defense running wise.
Mhm.
So I want to see where we go from here. James Houston did get a hold of him one time, had him by the ankles, but he got away.
Got
He
away
got
with.
away. That would
He
have been
threw the
nice.
ball off his back foot,
Yeah,
and it's like it still had steam on it.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. He still got that out there.
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. Overall, I think Anzalone got exposed a little bit, just a little
Ooh.
bit. Jack Campbell had a nice pass deflection, a full extension on the breakup, and that was good to see. All of our rookies showed up though, all of them:
For sure.
Laporta, Gibbs, and Campbell. I think they were only the three rookie, and then Branch, of course.
Branch, yeah. For sure.
So yeah, all of our rookies that played a decent amount look great, honestly. So I'm pleased as far as the grade, because I got away from the grade, but
Mhm.
the grade. I mean, you hold the Chiefs to 20 yards. There weren't any glaring issues outside of
20
that
yards?
that pass. 20
Points.
points. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, that pass interference, which a lot of people were kind of contesting the by Cam Sutton on that deep pass. Um,
I thought
but
he got there early. I
he did get there early, but in real time, I feel like it would have in slow motion. He was there early for sure. But at any rate, I feel like we were around to be there too. I feel like you hold the Chiefs to 20 points, and the offense ends up with more passing yards and more rushing yards and more total yards in general. I feel like that's a major win in Kansas City.
I graded them an A minus,
Okay,
and
okay, I
and
like
I'll
that.
and I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
Uh, Second half adjustments. You tell me that if you tell me before the game that any team would hold the Chiefs to 2 field goals in the second half, and that's it,
That's crazy.
that's a win.
Yeah,
That's a win. So, for me, the way they hung in there tough, a couple of drives in the first half where Mahomes got loose, uh, but it was great coverage, but he got loose. That's going to happen a couple of times in the game. It didn't happen in the second half, I don't think. Uh, and if it did, it resulted in a field goal at the most. So I gave them a A minus. I thought Hutch was relentless. I thought he, regardless of not getting any sacks, he got tackles. He was, uh, he pressured the quarterback, and he just wouldn't stop. So that kind of effort, I think, CJ played great. I think there was a couple of breakdowns uh, from the defensive back, but this is a newly acquired group of individuals. I
Yeah.
expected that along with Mahomes. So I definitely think the defense did what they needed to do, especially in the second half. They kept us close in the first half, and that's all I could ask for. I give them an A minus. If anyone was to give them a B, I wouldn't argue. But for me, holding them to 2 field goals in the second half, I'm good with.
Right.
But before we go any further, we got to pay some bills, Foss.
Got to do that.
Now we not gonna let the coaches get off the hook. We got to grade them too. Dan Campbell is going to get a grade every game.
Dan Campbell by himself. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the head coach is going to take the fall.
Yeah.
I give the coach an A. I give him an A. I saw his reaction after halftime. I mean, right before half, and he was like, "Hey, we're hanging in there. The defense is hanging in there. We just gotta." He said exactly what needed to be done, and although the offense didn't get to moving the ball, that defense hung tough, and it shows for me. It was like a personification of who Dan Campbell is. Like gritty. That defense was fighting and scrapping. They were biting kneecaps, boss.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And they fell a little bit in the first half, but they got back up. So for me, I give plus the gutsy call to call a fake punt in your offense, and it gave them the jolt that they needed to move the ball. I mean, I think it took a little bit of wind out of their sails defensively when you do that. You can see the special teams coach after that call throw his heads get frustrated, and it's like, okay. Then they started moving the ball.
Yeah.
So great call came out of nowhere. You don't expect that call.
Right.
And
It's got to come out of nowhere. It can't be expected. That's what makes it work. Yeah.
And it's one of those calls, if you're wrong, you're messed over.
Yeah. You're taking the words right out of you. Yeah, you're saying exactly what's.
If you're wrong and don't convert, you're going to be the scapegoat.
Especially where we were at. We were inside the 20 or something.
Yeah.
Like it was
because they're going to say you gave Mahomes the ball.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right there. But if you make it, you look genius, and he looked genius. It makes him look genius. Now we've known Campbell to make these kind of calls before. I mean, before
and it didn't always work either.
It didn't always work, but he had the capacity and to try it. I don't want to say this is a children's show, but you know,
he had the cojones.
Yeah. You got to have some kind of nerve and courage to make a call like that. So I give Campbell an A. What do you give him, Foss?
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. He knew we needed that spark, and he was willing to take that chance on the road in a situation where you're essentially giving Mahomes a free touchdown, at least a field goal, but likely a touchdown after something like that. And he was willing to say, this is how we give it up. This is how we do. So that was huge. I love the adjustment of moving Hutch out inside to get him off of that, to get him to because what he could have done is been frustrated by the simple fact that the Chiefs kind of finesse the rules there, but they took that opportunity to make adjustments in that regards as well. And I feel like that's what separates the A's from the B's. I feel like you take away that fake punt inside the 20, you take away some of those adjustments, and cool, yeah, he didn't do anything to our detriment. But sometimes you got to go that extra mile and think outside the box to get the A. Because we're
For
not gonna be
sure.
giving out A's every week. We're gonna be giving out some. We might give out some C minuses this month.
Yeah,
You never know,
you never know.
because
But I
seasons
but
are very up and down.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's see. Do you have an offensive player of the game?
I don't think there was one specific player that just jumps off the page. Low key, I do want to talk about. Okay, I'm gonna give it to Goff, because when it's all said and done, the quarterback is in charge. They own the possession to the wins and losses. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Reynolds. Reynolds had some great some huge plays. Josh Reynolds, he actually had the most receiving yards and more than Amon-Ra St. Brown, in fact.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we were down, because I feel like midway through the game, we were like, you know what? We're missing that. We're missing JMO right now. We're missing that outside
Mhm.
weapon. And I feel like Josh Reynolds stepped up. He picked up Marvin Jones, who kind of hurt us a little bit. I think he had a drop and a fumble, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So Reynolds made it happen. Like, he's one of the guys that we don't talk about that much. That
No.
that just in general people don't talk about that much. And he came in and did his job. Even since he was picked up, the year we picked him up, when we had nobody at receiver. Reynolds played with Goff in St. Louis, not St. Louis, LA.
Mhm.
And he was somebody that Goff is familiar with, because they go back that far.
For
And
sure.
I feel like sometimes he gets his efforts are swept under the rug. But he showed up when it's all said and done. He had about 80 yards and I think 4 catches, but he had some big plays. But with that said, like I said, I'm gonna give it to Goff, because Goff got the ball to where it needed to be. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't take any terrible sacks, despite the fact that he is not very athletic. So he he held it down. Goff held it down.
Definitely golf did not turn the ball over.
Yeah,
Um you can be sometimes you have to manage a game. It's not always about having 400 yards passing and it would be nice and 3 touchdowns, but he managed the game even off the first series where he threw the ball away. Didn't take a sack, threw the ball away. Lived to play another down.
yeah.
So I agree wholeheartedly on your MVP player of the game, which is golf. Your defensive player of the game, who you give that to, Foster?
I would have loved to give it to Hutch. Hutch, he definitely set the tone with the pressure and adjusting from inside to outside, and kept patching Mahomes on his toes, which is very important. But you got to give it to Brian Branch. Brian Branch
Got to.
ultimately turned the game around. Post
Mhm.
fumble from Marvin Jones, he brought it back. He's that play was huge. He said they said he's seen that, he's watched it back, his pick six at least 100 times, and I'm not mad at him. If that was me, yeah, yeah. So
It
yeah,
changed
that
the
was
game.
huge. It
It
did.
changed
Those
the game.
turnovers, we talked about how turnovers and making plays totally shifts the momentum of the game, and it couldn't have come at a better time. And he ended up getting hurt. He came back. He ended up coming back later on in the game, but
Okay.
he did get hurt, which was scary, because it was on a non-contact injury. But yeah, Brian Branch. I mean, we talked about it from the start.
Yeah.
Just how good of a camp he's having. He had a good preseason run as well. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, could you have a make for a better story for a guy that was drafted that was felt like he was overlooked, drafted in the second round, and has had a chip on his shoulder since his name was called, like a pick six in Kansas City on Patrick Mahomes. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he could have drawn. I don't think he could have drawn that up any better, man. Like,
No,
that's crazy. And I just want to throw this out here. That was the I think they said that Brian Branch was the fastest. Like, because they timed the speeds
for
of the,
sure. Miles
and
per
they
hour.
they said that was the fastest one of the entire game. And this is Brian Branch who had a slow 40 time, but that in-game speed,
Yeah.
when you when you when you uh you see that pay dirt and you foot to butt trying to get to the end zone,
It's different. It
it
hit
hit
different.
different.
It do
Do
hit
your
different.
homework on a pick six, man. You taking off.
It do hit different.
But we back with another one when they thought it wasn't gonna be one.
Yeah, man. It hit different, man.
It hit different.
You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
So without further ado, we'll go to our featured player of the week. He actually started, and it's inspiring to talk about this guy because here he is, undrafted, started off. Well, I'll let you do your thing. And
No, you got it. You got
no,
it.
no, 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 but this is
No, no, no. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. But yeah, 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 yeah.
he's a good inspiring story. So it's one of those things where it's not how you start, but how you finish. So it's that kind of story. Foster, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about our player of the week.
Okay, so the feature player for the week is Jerry Jacobs. Like you said, he started week one this week, and he has a true from the mud story. This is a guy that started his college career. He's out of Atlanta, but he started his career at Hutchinson Community College. We'll probably never get another opportunity to mention Hutchinson Community College in anything, but that's where he started his football career. He played there for his first 2 years, but uh, the story of Jerry Jacobs has definitely been injuries. He tore his ACL, I believe it was his first year, that community, the first year when he was in community college.
Wow.
So the odds have been against him. This is somebody that I actually personally follow. I only follow, I think, two players on the Lions, him and CJ Gardner Johnson. But he's a guy that has a chip on his shoulder. Like, he pays attention to the Madden ratings and the talk, the talk about the Lions and the talk about him. And he's a guy that is, he got it from the mud. Started at community college, ultimately went to Arkansas State for 2 years, and then finished his college career at Arkansas University. Only started 4 games before opting out of the last 6 games to enter the draft.
Mhm.
After doing that, he still went undrafted, was signed by the Lions, and made the 53-man roster out of camp, which is very difficult to do for a undrafted free agent, but also a guy that didn't do. I mean, he was second team Sun Belt out of Arkansas State, but not a guy that necessarily did a lot in college per se. So he's always had the odds against him, and after I think he started his rookie year. He was starting by week 5, started 9 games, and then ultimately tore his ACL again. So he tore his ACL in college and then did it again his rookie year. He was on the IR for the first, I believe, up until October of last year. And then by the end of the year was probably our most consistent cornerback.
Mhm.
Granted, we had a lot of mishaps in the secondary last year, but with a Cuda,
Early in this year, a lot of mishaps, not so.
yeah, or definitely early in 2022 for sure. But by the end of it, we kind of got our act together a little bit, but yet and still, the Lions felt like we needed to shore up our secondary. which is why we went and got Mosley and Sutton. So once again, Jerry Jacobs is up against the politics of, guys being paid to come in and take his job. As of right now, we got Sutton. Mosley's on his way back, but here it is again. Jerry Jacobs has the opportunity to prove that he's supposed to be here when it's all said and done. So you gotta love stories like that, guys that went undrafted, started in community college. I mean, that's very motivating, because everybody doesn't have, I can talk about the guys that went in the first and second and third round and how they were first all-team SEC and had all these picks and stuff like that. But you love to see guys that really came from nothing. Nobody would have necessarily have thought that Jerry Jacobs will be where he is, but here we are. This guy is the starting cornerback and shut down the Chiefs relatively in the first game. So as far as his skill set, this dude is a pretty decent sized corner. This guy is 5'10", but he's about 208. So he's got some decent size, not amazing speed. I think his 40 time out of college was 4.53, but he's a guy that likes to get his nose dirty in the run stop in the run game. Speed, like I said, is not his best attribute. So he's better in the zone scenarios as opposed to man to man, because that straight line speed is just not it's not his forte. And then also his footwork is not the best, and his open field tackling could use some work as well. So, like I said, from the mud, community college, all the way to Arkansas State, to ultimately Arkansas, and now he is the starting cornerback for the Detroit Lions. And I'm excited to see just how he fits in with everybody else. We are very, very what seems to be stacked in the secondary. We got Kirby Joseph, we got Cam Sutton, we got Emmanuel Mosley, we got Brian Branch, we are Tracy Walker. We're very stacked in the secondary, and everybody is trying to go for theirs right now. So that is our feature player for the week.
Do your homework on the feature player of the week, man.
Yeah.
Let's get him a Lions roar. Yeah, man, that was dope, man. I appreciate you, Foster. You're on par as usual when it comes to that player of the week.
That's right, man. That's right.
So, with that being said, I got this next game circled on my calendar because of what happened last year. We face Seattle here in Detroit Sunday, 1:00. I have my reservations. I don't want to talk from the winner's circle right now. It's a new week. But I was worried about this game before I actually watched Seattle play the Rams. And not thinking highly of the Rams this year going into it, and to see how that played out, Seattle had difficulties stopping the rush.
Okay.
They had difficult. Now, we don't have a player like Aaron Donald. Like, he was.
No one does.
Who does, right?
Yeah.
But he was wreaking havoc against that offensive line, and that's gotta be playing to our favor as far as an offensive line. Granted, we didn't get any sacks last Thursday, but I anticipate to get some sacks this Sunday. What do you know about Seattle from what you've gathered so far in this young season there?
I didn't watch the game, but it looks like, Geno Smith had about 100 yards passing. I don't know if we can bet on him continuing that trend.
No, but I like that stat though. Going into the
yeah, that's crazy. 100 yards. Like, it was like 111. Okay, 112. My bad. 112 yards. Oh, touchdown. He had a touchdown to DK Metcalf. But DK
He's
Metcalf,
he threw for about 500 yards against his last year, though.
yeah. So and that was at home. What's crazy is I think that was in Detroit.
Yeah.
As this one will be in Detroit as well. So we can't bet on them playing that bad. I mean, their defense gave up a whole bunch. I mean, Stafford got busy. Stafford had 300 yards passing in that game without Cooper Cup.
Without Cup.
So,
hey man, I'm liking these stats, man.
Yeah,
You still have to. The Lions still have to go out there and perform. And let me not get carried away with this. And I'm being honest. I mean, I was worried about the game going into it because of what happened last year. Like they opened up that offense against us, and they were going up and down the field.
This is a different defense, though. But
a different defense. I can't wait to Sunday. I don't even want to sugarcoat this game as it's going to be as tough as I thought it was going to be. I think we come out with a victory, though. I think Detroit wins this game and starts off 2-0. But on the flip side, I got to ask you, Foster, what happens if we lose this game and be 1-1? What would your outlook be?
It'll be disappointing that we lose our first. We're on such a high right now, which is scary. I mean, that's more the fans than anything. I don't think the team is losing focus, but the fans being this high right now, it's scary to think at the fact that we could lose our the first home game, because Ford Field is going to be on fire.
It's going to be crazy. Ford Field going to be rocking Sunday.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So I think that, it's scary to think that that we could have a hangover off of that off the high that we were on with the Chiefs game, but we would just we'll see. It's a long season, and it would be great to if we can win this game.
I mean,
nothing can stop us if we win this game.
There's not too many people that aren't Lion faithful outside of the Lion faithful that would have told you that the Lions were going to start off 2-0. They would have said 1-1 at best,
right?
Because you're going to lose that game in Kansas City. You might beat Seattle. That's what most people outside of the Lions faithful were thinking.
Yeah,
like you're not going to win in Kansas City. No, so it would be disappointing if you lose, but you're still on par. Not making excuses. I feel like this is a game you have to win after winning Thursday. It's almost unfair to say it's a must-win game. It is unfair to say, but you got to win this game.
That's what we say when we're 0-3. Like, this is a must-win, or we are not gonna make the playoffs. Like,
I mean, I can't imagine how loud Ford Field is going to be.
Campbell said it's going to be louder than Arrowhead, which is kind of a stretch, but it is. We are in the dome, and we are riding the excitement of a game that we were not supposed to win.
Foster, I haven't been to a Lions game since the Lions were 0-14 facing the Vikings with Randy Moss, and the Lions won that game. But you talking about rocking that place when they got loud, it was shaking. And I anticipate that Sunday. Where are you watching the game at?
I'll probably be at Wifey crib. Shout out to Wifey. This Lions. This is a birthday gift right here. By the way, this is the perfect opportunity to plug her.
I hate to show off, man. You ain't got to.
hey, this is. I like this. I like that. I like this right here. But
you ain't got to.
Yeah, I'll probably be at Wifey crib watching the game. She stay right downtown, so be in the mix of
Oh,
All
man.
the excitement.
Yeah. That's gotta be well, one of these Sundays, you and the wife, you gotta come by the house and watch the game with me and the wife, and me and the wife watch the game. So
Definitely.
she's a football fan as well. So you can check us out, man. So Wednesday, we do have another show, and that will be with some representatives of the NFC North. We will have a Packers representative, a Vikings representative, and a Bears representative on the panel, and that's going to be a weekly show. Uh, and it's basically about the NFC North and how we're faring and how we're feeling. Uh, Boss, we had one before and you weren't there, and it was too friendly of it was a friend I ain't gonna say too friendly. It was a friendly environment.
It's gonna
I
it's gonna get
expected
it's gonna get nasty now that the season's on.
I expected a lot of trash talk, but it's not gonna get nasty this week because two of them are 0-1. Don't
Yeah,
better talk nice. But but and the other one's Green Bay. So yeah, I'm not worried about
they won though, right?
against
That's who beat the Seahawks, right? No,
against
I'm tripping.
against
Who
the
did they
Bears.
beat the Bears? They beat the Bears. I'm thinking of the Rams. You know, the Rams are like kind of like
Yeah.
I don't
But
know. They're one of
anyway,
us.
we will be back here on Wednesday. No. I'm sorry. You'll catch the Wednesday via audio.
That's on the audio. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
on the audio, and it will drop it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You'll be able to hear that show in its entirety. I'm going to figure out a way to get the footage so we can put it out all together and put the video out as well. I haven't gotten to that, but they send it to me and I just drop it on the audio version on FFSN, and you can check that show out. It should be good this week. It was good last week. It should be better this week. Foster will be on there with me this week, and we'll talk about what we all have coming up on for this week in football. I think the Vikings play Philly.
Mm.
Oh, that's a gruesome start. That could be a gruesome start.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. You still got to line up and play football. So, we're gonna get out of here, Foss. I appreciate have a great birthday. That show off the Lions, John. Again, man, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. It's like a baseball jersey, but it's got a hoodie on. You know.
That's your speed, though.
Oh
That's
yeah,
you.
come on. She knows. She already know. But
She
yeah.
knows it. Yeah. So happy birthday. I want you to enjoy yourself. Be safe. The Lions are 1-0 heading into next week's game versus Seattle, and it's in Detroit on Ford Field, and it's gonna be rocking. Can I get a prediction score? You're the only one that's gonna give them.
Oh.
You're the only one that's gonna give them. So before I say one, I'm gonna refrain from saying one and put the pressure all on you. So if it doesn't go our way, I'm like, I told you, Foss.
I can't even remember what it was last time. What did I say?
You said 30
to 24, right?
30 to 24 last game. And I said it would be a low scoring game. And it kind of was.
Man.
Okay.
28.
Do you okay, 28.
I got 28. Because I gotta shoot under the 30. Like that was yeah. 28. It's gonna be close. I feel like I just don't feel like we beat the Chiefs by one. I'm not in a position to be saying that we just gonna blow them out. I do have the Lions winning 28-24. I'm gonna do 24 again.
I say 23-17 Lions.
23-17. Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see how close we are.
It's so tough. Yeah, you're really. I wasn't even. I could have prepared. I could have prepared the score, but I didn't think you. I was hoping you didn't ask.
You know I'm gonna put you on the spot, Files. That's how we do here, man. It's your birthday, you know.
Yeah.
What it is.
That's the problem.
Thank you for everyone that tuned in. We appreciate you. We love when we see people watching and supporting. I really want to thank you. This means a lot. If you don't or didn't catch any part of it, you can always go to Motor City Metrics. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you share, like, and comment. Please. It helps with the algorithm. We want more people to see these videos. There's not a lot of Detroit support outside of Michigan, and we're trying to make sure that people know about Detroit, the Detroit Lions, man. And it's time. It's time. So, Foster, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, man. Where else would I rather be on my birthday than on Bleachers to Speakers? You know.
You're so full of it, man.